Hello traders, this is binaryoptions.net.au and today we're going to teach you how to trade with the Ichimoku Cloud. The Ichimoku Cloud was developed by a Japanese journalist. Yes, you heard me right, a Japanese journalist in the late 1960s. And the first step is to understand the cloud. The primary purpose of the cloud is to help you identify the trend and gives you a bias. By knowing this, you will know if you're in a bull or bear market. And if you focus on the price action around the clouds, you can determine when direction is shifting or reversing. Also, by knowing if you are in a bull or bear market, you will know either to look for short setups or long setups, or setups to buy puts in a bear market or setups to buy calls in a bull market. So this is how the cloud looks like. As you can see here, price is trading below the cloud and the cloud is orange. When the cloud is orange and price is trading below the cloud, we are in a bearish market. And when price is trading above the cloud and the cloud is blue, we are in a bull market. And of course, if you have a changing cloud every hour or so, depending on the time frame you are analyzing price action on, you are in a range. But this is the main thing. You have to understand what the cloud is. The cloud is simply the bias that you get from this indicator. And in fact, it's not an indicator, it's a chart itself. Now, the step 2 is to use the moving averages for signals. This indicator uses two moving averages, the 9 period and the 26 period. The difference between these moving averages and the normal moving averages, the ones that we already know how to use, is that these moving averages uses mid prices for its calculation, and the normal moving averages uses closing prices of the candles for its calculation. The fast moving average is the trigger, and the slow moving average is the baseline. This is what we're going to call them when we are talking about the setups that we are going to look for. Now, here are the triggers or setups to look for. When you have a bullish crossover, first of all, you need to be in an uptrend, okay, to have a bullish crossover. So, in this case, price is trading above the cloud and the cloud is blue, okay, and then price retraces back, and you can see that in this case the black line is the baseline or the 26 period moving average, and the green moving average is the trigger or the 9 period moving average. When the trigger moves below the baseline and crosses back up, we have a setup to buy calls in whatever instrument you are trading. Okay, this is not a normal crossover. A normal crossover is just when the slow moving average crosses above or below the fast moving average. When you are trading with the Ichimoku Cloud, you need to wait for the fast moving average to cross below and then move above to follow the main trend. Okay, this is in an uptrend. When it crosses below the baseline and then above the baseline, you have a trigger to buy calls. Contrarily, if you are in a downtrend and when the trigger line crosses above the baseline and then crosses below again to follow the main trend, you have a signal to buy puts on whatever instrument you are trading. Now, the step 3 is to use the candlestick and the baseline setup. This setup is very much like the moving averages crossover. The difference is that the price crosses the baseline, not the trigger or the slow moving average. In an uptrend, when prices crosses below the baseline, this is a signal of oversold conditions. And in an uptrend, I'm sorry, And in a downtrend, when price crosses above the baseline, this gives us a signals of overbought conditions in the market. The trigger happens when price, let's imagine here we are in an uptrend, okay? And we are looking for oversold conditions to buy the dip. This is called dip buy or buy the dip. So we are in an uptrend and we are looking for oversold conditions or a correction to buy calls and get on with the main trend. What we need to wait for is for price to cross below the baseline, giving us a signal of oversold conditions, and when it crosses back up, we have a signal now to buy calls on any currency pair or stock that you are trading. Conversely, in a downtrend, when we are looking for overbought conditions, is when price comes all the way up and crosses with the baseline and then crosses back down. We have a signal to buy puts on this instrument. Now let's go to the charts to look for actual setups that just happened. Okay, so this is the Aussie US dollar daily chart. And the first thing we want to do is go to the add indicator button and then to the Ichimoku Kinko Hyo. Now, as you can see, we have a lot of parameters here. The up Kumo and the down Kumo is the cloud itself. So the first thing we want to do is just use the cloud because we want to know price direction. Okay, now we have the cloud right here, and as you can see here, we were in a steep downtrend and then we just started to move up. Okay, and this is just to get market direction. Now to get the actual triggers, we need to go and right click here and go to indicators or indicator list and go to the Ichimoku Kinko Hyo. As you can see on the parameters, the Tenkan Sen is the trigger line. We're going to use dark green for the trigger line, and the Kijun Sen is the baseline. We're going to use black for the baseline. You can use whatever colors you like. This is up to you. And the Chikou span is actually a lagging line that we're not going to use with this strategy. Now that we have here both the baseline and the trigger lines, we can actually see where we had good setups to buy binary options, to buy calls or to buy puts on the Aussie US dollar daily chart. This is just for your information because normally you will be trading the 50-minute chart, and what we can do is just go through a few setups that we had here and then move on to the 50-minute charts to see if we actually can trade it on the lower time frames too. Now the first thing that I see here is a price crossover for a very nice buy puts signal here, right? As you can see, we are in a downtrend. We are trading below the cloud. The cloud is orange, and the price moves above the baseline and then moves below, giving us a signal to buy puts on the Aussie US dollar for a long-term position, maybe a end of week expiration that would have ended up in the money. And let's look for another one. We have a crossover here, but remember that we want the crossovers to be just like this one. Here we have another one, another signal, and this is actually a signal where the trigger line crosses above the baseline and then crosses below the baseline, giving us a signal to get in on the last piece of this downtrend. Now this is basically what the Ichimoku trading or the Ichimoku system looks like, and these are the triggers that you need to look for. What we're going to do actually is go to a lower time frame. Let me just get rid of these two rectangles. We're going to go to a lower time frame to so you can see that we can actually trade the with the Ichimoku Cloud on any time frame that uh, or on the time frame that we feel comfortable with. Okay, so this is the latest price action, and as you can see here, we are in an uptrend and a very steep one. And we have here a great signal to buy calls. I'm sorry, when price dips below the baseline and moves up, we have a winner call option that would have expired in the money, and then again here when price moves below. Let me just insert another rectangle. Price moves below, and when it moves above, right here, we have another signal to buy calls on this currency pair on the 15 minutes for an hourly expiration that would have expired in the money. Now, we also have what I wanted to talk to you about is that uh, the actual cloud can also be areas of support and resistance. And if you see closely here, you can see that when price crosses above the cloud and then it goes back to the flattened cloud and tested as support, we have what can be considered a continuation of this breakout and a signal to buy calls that would have ended up in the money. So there's a lot of things that you can do with the Ichimoku Cloud, and the as you can see, even though it seems very complicated, the indicator is pretty much straightforward and the signals are very simple.